What if the biggest difference between rich and poor has nothing to do with intelligence, nothing to do with hard work, and far less to do with opportunity than we've been led to believe? What if two people could start with the same job, the same salary, the same economy, and end up in completely different financial realities because of how they think? That idea sounds uncomfortable, even dangerous, because it challenges the story we're told from childhood, that success is mostly about effort and failure is mostly about laziness. But here's the mystery. If that were true, why do so many people work hard their entire lives and stay broke? Why do some people escape poverty while others remain trapped generation after generation? And why do patterns of wealth and poverty repeat themselves, even when conditions change? The answer isn't found in motivation quotes or self-help slogans. It's found in something far more subtle and far more powerful. A mindset shaped by systems, history, incentives, and survival. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Setting the stage, history, systems, and a tease. To understand the difference between a rich mindset and a poor mindset, we need to clear up a dangerous misconception right away. This is not about moral superiority. It's not about intelligence. And it's not about worth as a human being. Mindsets are learned responses to the environments people grow up in. And those environments were not created equally. For most of human history, wealth was inherited, not earned. If you were born poor, you stayed poor. If you were born wealthy, systems protected you. Capitalism didn't erase that, it just changed how it operates. Modern financial systems reward certain behaviors relentlessly and punish others just as consistently. The twist is this: most people never realize the game has rules. They only experience the outcomes. And by the time they notice the pattern, they believe it's just how life works. But to understand how that mindset split formed, we have to go back to the beginning. Origins where the mindset divide began. Long before stock markets, bank accounts, or credit scores, humans lived in survival mode. Resources were scarce. The future was uncertain, and survival depended on immediate action, not long-term planning. If you didn't eat today, tomorrow didn't matter. That survival logic still exists today, but only in certain environments. As societies evolved, something important happened. People with stable access to resources began thinking differently about time. They could delay gratification. They could plan seasons ahead. They could take risks without risking death. Meanwhile, people without stability developed a different mindset, one optimized for survival. Spend when you can. Take opportunities immediately. Avoid long-term risks you can't afford. Neither mindset is wrong, but only one is rewarded by modern financial systems. This is where the divergence begins. The rise, how systems rewarded one mindset over the other. As industrial capitalism expanded, wealth stopped being tied solely to land and titles. Instead, it became tied to capital ownership, factories, businesses, stocks, real estate. But access to capital required something most people didn't have: spare money, spare time, and spare risk capacity. This created a feedback loop. People with resources learned to think in terms of assets instead of income, long-term gains instead of short-term relief, leverage instead of labor. Their mindset wasn't magic, it was trained by repeated exposure to positive outcomes. Meanwhile, people living paycheck to paycheck learned different lessons. Saving feels pointless when emergencies erase it. Risk feels dangerous when failure means homelessness. Long-term planning feels abstract when today is uncertain. Over time, these lessons harden into beliefs. And beliefs quietly shape behavior. Cause and effect, how thinking becomes destiny. Here's where mindset becomes powerful, not as a slogan, but as a mechanism. A poor mindset shaped by instability often prioritizes immediate consumption over delayed reward, guaranteed income over variable opportunity, familiar discomfort over unfamiliar risk. A rich mindset, shaped by security, often prioritizes ownership over wages, systems over effort, probability over certainty. Again, this isn't about intelligence. It's about what worked in your past. And what worked before is what the brain trusts. The problem is that modern economies reward behaviors optimized for stability, while punishing behaviors optimized for survival. That mismatch creates the illusion that mindset causes wealth, when in reality, wealth often creates mindset first. Until the cycle repeats. The breaking point when the promise fails, for decades people were told a simple formula. Go to school. Get a job. Work hard, you'll be fine. That formula worked for a while, but then wages stagnated. Debt exploded. Housing costs surged. Healthcare became unpredictable. Suddenly, behaviors that once led to security stopped working. People followed the rules and still fell behind. This is where the conversation about mindset became dangerous. Because instead of questioning the system, society began blaming individuals. If you're struggling, it must be your thinking. If you're poor, you must be irresponsible. If you're wealthy, you must be smarter. But the data tells a more uncomfortable story. Fallout: the psychological consequences. When people are trapped in financial instability, their brains adapt. Studies show that scarcity reduces cognitive bandwidth. Decision-making becomes short-term. Stress narrows focus. This isn't a flaw, it's biology. But it has consequences. People stuck in scarcity are forced to optimize for now, not later. They avoid risks that could help them long-term because failure is too costly. Meanwhile, people with buffers can afford mistakes and learn from them. Over time, this creates two realities living side by side, one where failure is feedback, another where failure is catastrophe. And mindsets solidify accordingly. Failed fixes: why motivation alone doesn't work. For years, self-help culture pushed a simple idea: just change your mindset. But mindset without structural support is fragile. You can't think your way out of systemic instability. You can't visualize your way past medical debt. You can't manifest savings without surplus income. Motivation fades under pressure. Discipline collapses under exhaustion. This is why so many people try and fail to adopt rich habits. They copy behaviors without changing conditions. And when it doesn't work, they blame themselves. Modern parallels shocking data and repeating patterns. Today the gap is widening. A small percentage of people own most assets. Most people rely on income alone. And here's the repeating pattern. Those with assets think in decades. Those without think in weeks. Neither is a moral choice. Both are rational responses. But only one is rewarded. The shocking truth? Most rich mindset advice assumes stability people don't have, and most poor mindset criticism ignores risks people can't afford. The real difference: the delayed answer. So what is the real difference between rich and poor mindset? It's not positivity, it's not hustle, it's not confidence. It's time horizon. Rich mindsets think in probabilities and decades because they can survive losses. Poor mindsets think in certainties and immediacy because they must. Change the environment and the mindset often follows. Not the other way around. 3 clear takeaways. Takeaway number 1. Mindset is shaped by security, not character. People adapt to what keeps them safe. Takeaway number 2. Systems reward long-term thinking but don't provide stability equally. This creates repeating wealth patterns. Takeaway number 3. Sustainable mindset change requires reduced risk. Stability comes before strategy. Warning: open-ended thought. If society keeps pretending mindset alone determines success, we'll continue blaming individuals for outcomes created by systems. But if we understand how environments shape thinking, we gain something more powerful than judgment. We gain leverage. The question isn't whether rich or poor mindsets exist. The question is whether we're willing to confront why they form. And what happens if nothing changes? Natural call to action. If this video challenged how you think about wealth and poverty, like it so others can see this conversation. Subscribe for more deep dives into money, psychology, and the systems shaping modern life. And comment below, do you think mindset creates wealth? Or does wealth create mindset? Because the answer might decide how the next generation sees success.